Hello and welcome to Reaper's Goodbye. This is, I think, a visual novel where you get to hear 5 different stories while waiting for the midnight train. So, yeah, let's get into it. Ooh, are you liking the art style? Now the sky on the countryside is wide, empty, and often soundless. Crickets may sing, but their songs get lost in the open air, soaking into nothingness. There's no hustle and bustle of crowds. There are no blaring car horns, just the wind through the grass and labours of your own breath as you tread the unpaved road. It is said that in such a countryside, you may come across a man with a trail of cigarette smoke behind him. Shifty eyes dart across the scene, but pay him no mind. His goals lie elsewhere. Cursed individual can only take company with those of similar fortune, you see. To exist between worlds means living tied to nothing. No home, no family, no sense of time. A man like that looks perfectly natural, wandering the emptiness of a soundless sky. If you come across such a man, pay him no mind. He'll walk on leaving only smoke behind. But if you meet such a man and his eyes fix upon you, well, what can you do? What can he do? That's just how the world works. Cursed individual can only take the company with those of similar fortune. Just the wheels of fate turning. You two just caught in the spokes. Well, that was an interesting start to this. But yeah, here we are at the train station. Town smells like roasting meat and alcohol. Sitting there enjoying it all is an old acquaintance. Okay, was not expecting it to be like a noir type game, but I'm liking it. But yeah, I'm not gonna try and pronounce that first sentence. What a surprise, to think the gods would lend us to this village just to meet again. The world works in mysterious ways, or whatever that is. Oh, I didn't realise. Can we go back? Yeah, an old fool, a young heart, or just wise beyond his years. Hard to tell. Didn't realise that the thing had changed down the bottom. Ah, mon ami, you could have given me a more cheerful face. Go ahead, smile for me. I hate people who say that. I want to punch their fucking face. Never change, do you? Such depressing company you can be. Perhaps your poor mother fed you nothing but bitters as a child. So depressing. So depressing I must drink away my sadness. Okay. Man turns around with dramatic flourish. Begins walking to the nearest stall. It's been like that for the longest time. Man leads the way, babbling the whole time. This and that, it's always pointless, but he's keen on talking. Finally shuts up at a humble food stall where a group of patrons tarry idly. There's a respectable, professional-looking man. A mature woman minding her own business. A jovial old man with a well-made suit. And a nervous-looking little girl hiding behind a scarf. Here's the chap I was speaking of. You can get this night started now. Ah, mon ami, don't be sour. These poor souls missed their last train. Must spend the night without entertainment. It won't do. Let's trade stories until fate calls upon us. Personally find this so immature. Don't be such a stick in the mud. Can't think of a better way to spend the night. Well, I can think of one better way. Oh, I bet you can. See what magnificent... that company we have? No wheels of fate were turning. Rather, they had already reached their destination. This was more or less unknown to the 6 strangers at the stall, who would wait the train that would take them far, far away from here. Story of the lost souls and their startling tales begins now. Okay, 5 stops until dawn. Oh, I'm supposed to click on people. Okay, well, I ended up clicking on him, so. Ghost stories? Oh well. No, I haven't really. You don't get to talk about the occultish stuff in my line of work since it's very scientific. Very factual, you see, but perhaps. Man nervously looks from side to side. Yes, well, just for tonight, since you insist, there was this one time back in my school days. Tunnel visions. Guess that's the name of this little story. It's in my college years when I found myself stuck in the rain between trains. So late and neglected to keep track of time. Indeed, the trains went on without me. I'd ended up beneath a street lamp with my umbrella, doing little for the intensity of the weather. Looking out, I could hardly see anything except for the shine of wet gravel in the fog. Oi, are you lost? Voice rang out into the night. Couldn't tell if they were beside me or not. It sounded like a man about my age. I still couldn't see them. Follow the tracks if you go through the tunnel. You won't have to bother with the rain. But the train? These tracks have been abandoned for years. Come on, let's go. Indeed, there were tracks in front of me. I followed them and came to the mouth of the tunnel, where a figure stood. Strangely, I couldn't catch his face. Mix of fog and rain and darkness made it hard to see. I could tell he was too astute, and my nerves began to settle. I let down my umbrella and we entered the tunnel together. Began to ask questions about me. The tunnel was even darker than the outside, but thanks to our conversation, I felt completely at home. I explained the courses I was taking and the dorm I was at, the exams I was studying for, and my expectations for the future. I want to become a physician. You sound so sure of yourself, he said. It's only a matter of time. The courses aren't so difficult if you study them properly. Anyone who says otherwise is making excuses. Naturally, not everyone can make it. But that's just how it is. If everyone could achieve their dreams, the world might as well collapse. That's very much like you. I was confused by the statement, and my nerves were on and once again. Did I know this chap already? I studied his face in vain. Darkness was too much. He was slightly taller than me. Maybe he was somebody I'd met on the campus. Tried to think of a way to catch his face. Say, do you have a light? It's a little... of course. Give me a moment. He lit a match from his pocket. Bottom half of his face was illuminated, but I still couldn't think of anything. Despite being taller, he had an odd youth about him. How to say it? Well, normally at that age, a man begins to grow hair on their chin. Even when one shaves himself, there will still be a little pox where the hair will grow. No, for him, it was completely smooth. There was a roundness to his jaw that made me think of that. I was thinking too much of it, so he caught me in the act. Something on my face? No, I quickly thought of something. I just don't recognize the uniform, so I suppose we won't be seeing each other at school? No, I suppose not. Uh-oh. Yeah, I hear a train. In the distance, I heard the blaring of a train. Tracks aren't used anymore, remember? Of course. We walk along them all the time back then. We did? Well, normally I was too scared to, but you would push me along. I'd push back and eventually we would end up walking the tracks. Walk to school like that all the time. Paolo? Yes, it was Paolo, a friend from years ago. We studied together and we walked along the train tracks, just as he'd said. Still couldn't see much of his face, but his voice still carried the same measured timbres as it had years ago. I was tempted to let out a laugh, but I stopped before the empty tunnels would catch my voice. Suddenly became wary of the space around me as Paolo patted my shoulder in a friendly manner. Took you long enough. I was beginning to think you'd forgotten all about me. Well, I've just been busy with school. My mind is a little tired. What was that? Of course, school, I see. Paolo just smiled at me. We studied together for some time with the goal of going to the same university. The bar was extremely high, so we put our all into it. Of course, hard work is important, but there's also the matter of natural ability. Some people just built with better aptitude than others. It's by the grace of God that these things come to be. Truly, it's out of hands. Paolo, I heard a train. Must have been your imagination. How far is the exit? Probably a while. What, you don't trust an old body? It was out of our power. How we are born. So it's naturally out of my power when I was selected for university. My friend was left to the wayside. Said he would just try again and be my underclassman, but Paolo tried again and again. He entered countless essays and repeated tests over and over, but he somehow wasn't able to pass. By the grace of God, he simply couldn't. I fell out of contact because I naturally became so busy. There, it's the tunnel's mouth. It's going to hit us. Rowing too hard. It's merely the pounding rain. Please understand, I hardly had the time to even eat. It was cutthroat. The futures were just going in different directions, and some to better places than others. No, up there, a light is coming. Turned to run the other direction with the small hope I wouldn't be dashed to bits. But a hand clamped onto my shoulder so hard I nearly flung back. Hand so biting cold. I could feel it through my coat and in my bones. Where are you going? Aren't we going to walk through this place? Together? As friends? Remember this coldness. On a day with biting rain, I heard the news. Failing the entrance exam once more, my old friend Paolo wandered up onto a bridge far after midnight. Flew over the railing just as the train passed. Rumbling as cold was getting closer. Light was creating a burning halo around him. Sound was piercing me. Light was piercing me. The other end of the tunnel was just too far. Was I going to die? Last, I couldn't see his face. Young and just as piercing as the light behind him. You were good at running ahead. Path always seemed to open just for you. Me, though, could hardly get my foot in the door. Why? Why is it you? Why can't you do it? And I can't. Why is it you? Light was burning me. That moment, I was sure I'd die. That everything I'd worked for until now would be smashed to bits. But then, the match, which was burning down to his fingertips, split in two and vanished into the darkness. Paolo and the train disappeared at once. I was left alone in the dark of the tunnel. Nothing but silence and the vague glint of the train tracks, which had been abandoned long ago. So that's the end of the story. As I said before, I'm not into the occult. Surely there's a scientific explanation for it. Gets a resolute huff. He's convinced himself of something. Perhaps I came off a bit cruel in my retelling. I can understand how someone uneducated might see it as such. Academia is an extremely cutthroat business. If you're unable to keep up, then that's your own fault. Nobody argues with him. Back to drinking once again. Well, that was an interesting, kind of depressing story. Okay, 4 stops until dawn. Who do you want to talk to next? Okay, I'm thinking I'm going to talk to the guy that dragged us here in the first place. Sorry for me? I thought you never asked, mon ami. Anything I love more than hearing a story is telling one. Beetle Larson takes Long Drago's cigarette. That's a very interesting name. Oh, what to do? Yes, this is it. Now lean a little closer. Guardian Angel. I also don't like those eyes up there looking at me. Before I was well established in my profession, I was a pitiful, penniless youth, travelling the country with little else than the clothes on my back. Not even proper threads, mind you, all shabby, out-of-season hand-me-downs. Presses me just to remember it. Anyhow, you can see how unfortunate I was at the time. There were nights where I would have no coin for shelter and lick potato starch just to quell my hunger. I did manage to scrounge up enough to move to the city in hopes that I could find more opportunities there. Rented a small apartment on the lower end. A cramped, dark space hardly bigger than a closet with a single flickering bulb strung from the ceiling. My bed was a bare mattress, held up by a rickety old frame. I tried not to make much movement, lest I be awoken by a rusty creaking. Something peculiar happened the day I settled into my apartment. I was staring up at the ceiling, willing myself to slumber, when I felt something at the side of my face. Like an intense heat. When humans are in such darkness, the senses heighten, so that even the slightest rise in temperature can be felt. Oh, there's those eyes again. Something peculiar so in the darkness I felt I was not alone. I shot upright and pulled at the bulb switch, nearly yanked it off completely in panic. Searched my cramped room, but found nothing but mold and mouse holes. How depressing. Of course, I could not possibly sleep after such a feeling, so I headed out of the accursed room for some fresh air. Boy, youngin', you'd be lucky to meet it at a time like this. Seen on the street was a bedraggled old beggar. Her face was shrouded by a stained cloth and her fingers played across the empty air. All you should know about my profession is that you meet a great many kinds of people. Each person has their own unique path to take, and intersections, like those, are akin to miracles. You may walk through life lonely and singular, or you may have a once-in-a-lifetime experience. So even in my amateur status, I understood this to be valuable. Wordlessly shuffled closer to the woman. Hey, you seem to be wise as well as lucky. Like a young'un walk past and pay wit their lies. Wise and lucky ought to stay liars, so I tell you this. Buy this from me for a copper, place it at your bedside, and sleep will come nice and easy. In her outstretched hand, she produced a small common cracker. Believe her, I was the secrets of the universe, but even I had to raise an eyebrow. Besides that, I had little money to spare. In order to make rent, I'd had to cut down on a single meal a day. Wise and lucky, but still doubtful. Buy this from me and you will see in time. Everyone on this earth is blessed with a guardian angel. When you lay down to sleep tonight, see how the angel watches over all of us. Was she insane or speaking the truth? Either way, she looked out for my health, threw a coin and made my way up the steps. Placed a cracker on the thin strip of floor between the bed and the door frame, emptying my lined pockets. Oh great, there's a lot of eyes. I don't like it. What in the world? Learn to fall asleep and survive on little more than crumbs. At the end of the week, the beggar woman would appear on the street corner and sell me another blessing. Parting with coins always hurt, but the pain was lessened as my luck began to fly. Somehow my business was taken off. Seeing that the whims of the city and the wishes of my heart had finally aligned. Magnificent. Yep, yeah. But all was not so rosy during these blooming youthful days. I must tell you of, in generous terms, an old friend, who was likewise young and man with little to call his own. He too was in the profession and had made to say about it. So much to say that our entire walk home was consumed with his contemplation. Same evening he told me of his new residence. Beggar lady came from our usual exchange. You're living here? Sure I am. I mean, where else could I go to sleep in this dump of a city? I found a room last week. Man, does it make me miss home. Young'un, will you go off to bed, buy this from me for a copper? Ha, a copper? Miss, I'm not gonna buy that little thing from you when I can buy myself a tall drink. Please, young'un, you'll regret it if you... Listen to this, you're completely off a rocker. The foolish friend of mine laughed loudly at the woman and spun on his heel. In his place, I exchanged the coin for the communion cracker, but her face looked like she was mourning. Not too late. God, you're too generous. You need to learn how to say no to street people. We hardly get by ourselves. Mind your point. Just consider it, please. Just go to sleep already. And so, just as past intersect, they part. Night, dear listeners, I heard something I can never forget. I was lying in my bed. Was that my guardian, my angel, staring back at me? Creak of the bed from somewhere in the complex. Hey, who the... What the hell? Hey. I don't like the sound of that. The following day, I learned that my friend hadn't shown up for work, so much as sent word. Sometime later, I saw the landlord grumbling about the complex, banging on a certain door with no answer. Seemingly disappeared clean off the face of the earth. How peculiar. My mind wandered from it as soon as I received a letter saying I'd be accepted into a high position with much better accommodations. Plans were made, suitcases were packed. Lord knows how I paid communion up until the very last day. So that's the gentleman's tale of how I lived in my early years. Stifle! I wasn't always so refined. Mon ami, I know how cruel I must sound, but with this time you get to see how into people's hearts. Getting to understand who will make it and who will depart. Such is the way of our chosen path. The old fool smiles gently at the memory. Although it gets lonely watching over everyone's past, doesn't it? Other patrons look unnerved by his tale. Oh, what am I doing telling you this? Isis there tells me all I need. Just about frozen over. But to him, it was just a nostalgic conversation. And that was kind of very dark tale. Anyway, we've got 3 stops. Okay, well, I think I'm gonna go for the lady here, see what story she's got for us. So, what do you want? You want a story from me, huh? Well, I got my fair share of stories. Scary ones aren't exactly my forte. Mostly I just got tales of heartbreak. Well, maybe there's one. It takes a slow sip and sighs. How do you start these things? Whatever. Doesn't matter how I tell it. What's done is done, right? So it doesn't matter what I say. How was it? Beloved Jewel Spider. Definitely don't like the spider whip as well. I feel like casting her. Once there was a woman and her daughter. They loved each other very much. The woman brushed her daughter's hair every night, sang gentle songs to calm her. time they spent together was truly the most happy time they had in either of their lives. Do you love me? Of course, Mama. How do you love me? More than anything. Such a good girl. Mama will give you a present, see? Mama gave her daughter a strange little box. It was thick and heavy with a large clasp in the front. Ever in trouble, just open this box. Mama will come help. But Mama, I can just ask you if I'm in trouble. Of course, but one day. Mama continued to sing, a gentle voice soothing the little girl so the yelling from the next room almost completely disappeared. When it was time to sleep, the girl swung closed so that she could only smell her mother's sweet perfume, instead of the stink of alcohol that permitted the air. Drifted off to sleep in her mother's arms, forgetting about the cramped room where they lived. La-di-da. It's raining. One day the little girl came home from school. Mama, I'm home. She scrambled up the steps and pulled open the door. Inside, she saw. Papa? Papa, what did you do? Time the woman and her daughter spent together was truly the happiest time in either of their short lives. With the box hugged to her chest, the girl knew those days of love were never coming back. Girl became a woman. That woman became cold. She lived in an apartment where the scent of alcohol permeated the air with a man who wasn't her husband. They got along fine unless they didn't. The man borrowed her money and the woman borrowed his time. Hey, do you have a little extra cash you could spot me? Gave you all I had last week. Useless. Can't even lend your man a little spending money? What kind of woman are you? Oh, what kind of man are you? Can't even keep a job. Shut up, useless. Why don't you go out and try working a little? Don't come back until you got something to show for yourself. So, that was the exchange. When returning to the cramped little hole, the woman could see that hideous man asleep with a glass tipped over next to him. When he woke up, she knew he would be angry, that he would blame it on her. She would be tossed into the night again. Drifting off to sleep, she couldn't help but mourn her mother. She was the only one who ever loved her. She was the only one she could love. The rest of the world is just too dirty. The woman kept the box after all these years. She hadn't opened it yet. There was no point. But for some reason, there was a sound coming from the box. Something was alive in there. It was trying to get out. The woman turned over and tried to go back to sleep. There was a comfort there. Scratching was almost like a lullaby. As her eyes closed, she couldn't almost feel her mother's arms around her. Another day of dirtiness. Another day of pounding rain. How irritating. The woman went home as usual. The man stunk more than ever and yelled as soon as she opened the door. Her breath. I hate it. Not enough. Aren't you trying? Useless. Doing this just to spite me, aren't you? What did I ever do to you? Not my fault you gamble everything. You spend it faster than I can make it. Don't understand how hard it is for me. Can a man try to relax every once in a while? Economy isn't so great, so don't expect to treat you like a queen of Sheba. I'm asking you to help out, so help out. Come on, answer me. What's so funny, huh? Is this funny to you? Your breath. Quit joking around. Man froze. The box in the corner was shaking. What's that? Hey, what the hell is that? The box was shaking more and more. Man's grew tense from nervousness. Oh great, more eyes watching us. My mother is in that box. Quit joking around. Mother was killed by my father. Did you know that? She was killed by him. Now she's in that box. She's looking after me, even now. She's lying. Gave me that box before she died. Said if I was in trouble, I should open it. What's in it then? Told you already. The group listened slowly. The air from the room had been sucked out and replaced with only the sound of light scratching. Man and woman laid down and closed their eyes, but neither of them went to sleep that night. Once again, the woman was forced to go out, look for work. She brushed her hair and applied her makeup as the man smoked a cigarette, his eyes stuck on the box. He said when you're in trouble, you should open the box, right? That's what my mother told me. Well, we've been in some trouble with money, alright? Don't you touch that box. Huh? Did you just say to me? I'm just saying, we've been in some money trouble is all. I've been managing just fine. Maybe there's some kind of jewel in there. Something we can sell for good money. I said don't touch it. Come on, don't you want to see how much your mother's love is worth? The woman left for work with a loud and bitter laugh. Another day of dirtiness, another day of pounding rain. Street lights flickered on, the water droplets catching light and blurring the buildings together. The woman trudged home after a long day of work. The scent of cigarettes, beer and sweat soaked her through. She suddenly thought of her mother's perfume. Through the rain, she thought she could hear a familiar tune. She ran as fast as her legs could take her. She scrambled up the stairs to her apartment and pressed her face against the door. The song could be heard inside. Behind the door, which held so many stains and fights and bruises, was an ocean of happy memories. The world so dirty and cruel. How could you bring back those days of love? It's easy. Just have to open the box. There it was, a spider that shone like jewels dangling from the ceiling. A sweet scent hung in the air as a beautiful melody rang out. The ground the box lay open and empty. Please, please. Such a miracle could only make her laugh. Come on, baby. Now do you see how much your mother's love is worth? And there you have it. They lived happily ever after. That's how all good stories end, right? Well, that was a very abrupt ending. Also very depressing and dark. Oh, you look upset. Are you expecting something different? Maybe the ending doesn't sound that happy to you. Doesn't matter either way. The girl in the story wasn't me, so don't go dreaming. Well, I didn't. Yeah, once again she acts elusive. Just a little tale I learned off the street. But perhaps that's an unchangeable fact. Well, God, all these stories are yeah, definitely something. But I want to move on to this other old man here. Got a good eye, kid. Got plenty of old spooks left in me. And well, we've definitely talked about a lot of spooky things tonight. The old man's relaxed more than anyone else here. Well, when you've lived a life like mine, you're gonna get a few spooks. Maybe all this is a game to him too. Plenty of sour times, things you can't talk about in front of children. But besides that, I do got a good story to tell. It's back in the day when I wasn't so damn wrinkled. Yeah, the sand casket. Not the kind of business you can talk about. Not then or now. But I brought in money and was considered real men's work. I had big dreams, and the boss said I had a promise. I was naive, but still rough around the edges. At a different time, right? You could say I was a garbage man. Took out the trash when everyone was asleep. Nice and easy. Down on the beach with the cliffside. It was a sign like you wouldn't believe. finish the job and stare out into the sea, taking in the scents. Now that I think of it, it's damn crazy that I never got caught. I shouldn't hang around in the places you do business. Alright, I was caught, but it wasn't in an ordinary way. Even in my golden years, I can't forget what I found in the sand. I finished my business and was taking in the moonshine. I could have sworn there was a silhouette on the shore. Obviously, that's gonna set off some red alarms. The place was pretty out of the way, so I reached for the piece and dared to look closer. Chasing the waves was some little kid. Okay, I was thinking that this kid kind of looks like a doll or something. Not an actual kid. Anyway, big droopy eyes and a carefree smile. What the hell was a kid doing all the way out here? Hey you, hey you, come over here. Like a good kid, he tottered over. You could tell he was raised well. Young with manners like that normally come from good families. Hey little guy, so tell me, where's your mum? What, no response? Could tell by his threats that he wasn't hurting for money or anything. He looked way too young to be some troubled runaway. He was pretty content for a lost baby. I could send him off to the police, but for certain reasons I just didn't feel like visiting those guys. You like candy, don't you? Yeah, that's it. It was dangerous to have anybody running around during my job. Since it was a little guy, I figured that he wouldn't be any trouble. Older self would never make such a stupid mistake. That's the kind of thinking that gets you 6 feet under. It accidentally became a ritual of mine to finish up work and then sit and watch the ocean with the mystery child, sharing hard candies between us. What an odd pair we must have been. Rowdy, no, good like me and some upper class hair stuffing our faces with sweets. Decided not to think too hard about where it came from, going up my own past long ago. One night. That hell of a night. What? I don't understand why it caught me off guard, but the mystery kid had such a damn sad look on his face. All I could think of was driftwood floating out to sea, or a hurt little bird. Don't think I'd seen anything sadder in my life. Hey little guy, you hungry? Got extra sweets tonight. The kid just kept staring out over the waves, sad as hell. Come on, tell me what's the matter with you. Do you miss your mum or something? Let me help you out. What's the face for, huh? Kid laid me across the shore. Still had my goods on me, for Christ's sake. Ran all the way with all the determination he could muster. We reached a far part of the beach, right on the cliffside. He stood and pointed at the ground, looking at me with those droopy eyes. First thought was, this kid lost his toy or something. Playing at the beach and he buried it and forgot about it is all. Did it all the time myself as a kid. So naturally I pulled my shovel and got to digging. There's nothing here, I'm telling you. Same response. Began to wonder if this kid was playing tricks on me or what. Something grabbed onto my mind. I don't know how to explain it exactly, but something in this line of business says things a little better than most people. At this point, it's up to your own personal brains to decide whether or not you keep going. I was young and very stupid, so you know how it went already. Shoveled more and more sand until it became dark and dense. While the kid was looking at me with watery eyes. The shovel meant something at last. In dense earth, I spotted a little fleck of white. Deeper, I had to go deeper. Oh. Curled up like a cicada shell was a pair of skeletons. A large one with a torn dress and pearls. And a smaller one at that. Thank you, mister. So that's about it. Instead of horror on his face, there's a look of warm nostalgia. Times were very different back then, but the Titans treated me well, for the most part, but you get a few odd things here and there. Never did get to learn his name or how it happened. No wonder, wondering now, no use wondering then. People disappear every day without a trace, but the world keeps turning. Frankly, I'm happy that I lived in a world where things kept turning. Well, that was an interesting story. Man, these are all either really dark or really depressing, or both. And pretty much all of them had like a supernatural spin on them. But yeah, definitely not complaining. I'm really liking these stories. But yeah, night is nearly over, and all we have is this little girl or boy. This little kid to talk to now. Yeah, little girl who sat up until now was staring at the ground. Finally she looked up with steadfast eyes. I have a story. She opens her mouth to speak, voice trembling slightly. Before I got here, before you were here too, tired eyes of the other patrons turned to her. Before I got on the train, there's an unspoken fear in the air. Back at home, 5 passengers. What are you whining about now? There were funny things in Mama's house. The kid was looking out from the closet and walls, but Mama never believed me. The other one played lots of jokes on Mama. Mama didn't like them. You nasty child. Why do you hate me? What did I ever do to you? Disgusting. Get away from me. I asked the other one why they kept hurting Mama. All they would do is laugh at me. Life got all up, turning, and they laughed and laughed and laughed. What are you doing? Are you trying to play tricks on me again? Why? Why couldn't I have a normal child? Mama, I am a normal child, but there's a bad child here tricking you. Mama, please believe me. Somebody was playing at night. There was a big crack on the floor. No. Most men were smashed on the ground. Why? Why are you always so mean to me? I hate you. Tried to put the mirror back together, but there was too many pieces. The other one laughed at me over and over. Everything was broken. No matter what I do, things break. I'm a normal child, so why was it here too? At night, I decided to run away. Everyone will be happy if I'm gone. Mama won't have to cry anymore. Ran to the station where all the trains are. When no one was looking, I jumped aboard and sat down. I wanted to go far, far away, to a place where no one would know me. The train was cold and loud. Light flickered a lot. It was empty and lonely, except for 5 other passengers on board. There was a pretty lady looking sadly out the window. A man with little glasses grumbling a lot. Fancy man with a little mustache humming to himself. And a nice grandpa gave me candy. Sweet. Wonder if in my new home I can get candy like this too. Will I meet somebody as nice as that grandpa? That would be nice. In the candy, I counted the passengers in the car. 1, 2, 3, 4. What? I thought I saw 5 passengers. The 5th one was... No, not again. Can't be here. Get away right now. Train began to shake and back and forth. Everyone started yelling. Everything began to rumble and I fell off my seat. We all turned in circles over and over and over. Trying to be a good child, I never played any tricks on anyone. No one complained about my bedtime. I never talked back. So why? Why did this happen? I'm trying to be a good child. I never played any tricks on anyone. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm sorry, Mama. And that's what happened. Her voice peters out softly. The eyes locked on her now desperately to each other. Nervously, the doctor speaks up. She's quite the creative little girl, isn't she? Monsieur, you got goosebumps. Not just groundless for his words. It's just the chilly air, right? Pretty late. Hey, what are you laughing at? Old man simply grins and muses softly. Oh yeah, the air is pretty chilly tonight. I decided long ago that I wouldn't regret anything. Man in my position doesn't get to be picky, you see. So chills like these don't bother me a bit. Truthfully, words, monsieur. Very few men in these days and age understand the nature of chills. Two older men laugh together as the doctor looks on in horror. You're crazy, all of you. You need to get out of here right this instant. Where's my train at? And by pure coincidence, he is cut off by a mighty train horn. When the faithful souls sit in utter silence, despite the differences, there's an instant understanding between them. Time stops for no one. The train won't wait forever. There's your way out, big man. Don't want to miss it. Lady takes a long sip and eyes the panicked doctor. Slowly, the bespectacled man leaves his seat and walks in the direction of the horn. And after a little while, the lady follows after him. Even now, her expression hasn't changed. The old man finishes his drink and smiles warmly. He extends a wrinkled hand to the little girl. Don't want to be late, little lady. Miraculously, the girl accepts. Two walk hand in hand until the figures are overtaken by the dark. How heartwarming. A perfect way to end the story. Oh, but what am I saying? Night isn't nearly over yet. Well, please, mon ami. Can you indulge in this temporary bliss? I know what we must do, but there is no use in us complaining. As payment for straying from the path, must assist Madame Fortune's grand plan. But oh, how magnificent it would be if things had turned out differently. Maybe I'd become an actor on a silver screen. How my features would shine. Gruff Wanderer speaks for the first time that night. I don't know what I'd be. Contrast to his intimidating appearance. His voice comes out as fragile as a child's. Don't know where I'd be. My mind goes blank when I think of anything else. Maybe this was all I was meant to do. And still much to do. But we must go on regardless. It's said in such a countryside, you may come across a man with a trail of cigarette smoke behind him. Speaks little and keeps to himself unless the powers that be force his hand. The people who wander without home or fortune carry a painful duty upon their shoulders. Any lost soul they find in their journey must be cut down without mercy. Life of endless meetings and partings. This is the curse of a reaper. Oh, I get it now. I get it. God, that's so fucked. Right on time. Last one been delivered. Well, almost. You already know, don't you? It's on that train too. Funny, isn't it? Even if we separate from the rest of humanity, we can bleed like any average man. Do it myself, but it seems that my own powers ineffective against myself, so the duty of deliverance fails on a dear friend. Think of it this way: leave me in this phantasmal form, eventually I'll become myself. Each part of me will chip away in the wind until nothing remains. So don't be sad. Being a Reaper really is a wonderful thing. We can meet again. We can trade stories and eat well, just as we have tonight. Alone on the edge of the town countryside, Reaper stands with white knuckles around the handle of a well-kept sickle. Spirits of the town push in and out of a train going somewhere far beyond. Knows one day he'll be cut down just as his friend was. Exit this world as alone as he lived it. Huh? You're not dead? We'll inevitably meet tragedy in our lives. Some will meet more than others, but it's said that the more dire the path, the more brilliant the miracles. Some are worth landing into your pockets. Brush with danger that leaves you untouched. Or perhaps it's something as simple as two lonely souls crossing paths. Man, what a fucking game. Jesus Christ. I was not expecting to make me feel sad and depressed today, but Jesus Christ. Man, that was a good visual novel though. I mean, I should have expected that ending with it being Reaper's goodbye. But yeah, man, that was fucking good though. I really like that. Yeah, I'm always a sucker for a good story, so. But yeah, that's the end. Reaper's goodbye. If you guys want to play this for yourself, yeah, link will be down in the description below, and yeah, we'll be moving on to something hopefully a little bit more happier. Hello and welcome to Pillows on Poppy Hills. This is another visual novel about one character wanting to paint the Poppy Hills while the other one wants to research it. Sounds kind of interesting premise, so let's begin. One were to look towards the bottom of the town's sunny skyline, they would see the hills covered in poppies as far as the eyes could perceive. Though the splendid red displays stood in the town's horizon for as long as the elders could remember, Wednesday is silent of what lays atop of the hills. Till one day, while the winds blew and quite powerful as ever, there was a chuckle warm with Wednesday headed to the stones no one could talk about. Melody and a smile displays under the fake mustache as he unpacks his humble bag. Upon the smooth stones he produces a wood suitcase, some water, next to the stone an easel standing proud. Large man seems to be a painter, like many others before him, wanting to paint the sunshine amongst the poppies. Getting his palette full of hardened colours into a position, first the painter hums a simple tune that sprays into the windy sky. Without fear for the equipment falling over despite the dancing flowers surrounding him, word spreads across the paper. But before he can stain his paper with grungeling hues, he stops humming when the wind whispers in his ear. For what reason do you come here? Huh? Who's there? Turns around and around, but sees nothing but the poppies swaying around him and the silent ruins. Thinking he was imagining things, for that is what painters do, turns to his canvas and his life, lifts his brush to the palette. As he did, the wind blew, seemingly more harsh than before. For what reason do you come here? Who's there? Want to chat? Then come out. I swear I don't bite, and I won't mind. Painter waits for a reply, but nothing greets him back. didn't mean to skip past that. Or you could just keep hiding and chat with me like this. I understand you're really shy. Wind blows as it always did, so he shrugs and turns to the paper at the easel. The paper had long dried and needed to be wet once more. So with a newly wet brush, water spreads across what was meant to represent the sky. It did not take long for it to stop before the wind began. For what reason do you come here? There is nothing to paint here. At last the painter frowns, but not with annoyance or anger. He plays with confusion in his voice. What are you talking about? The hilltop is beautiful. Such a shame nobody comes here to see the gorgeous sights. You know why that is. Wind sounds as if it was hissing. Despite the dour air, the painter smiles and replies with a laugh. Absolutely you do not know. Nobody has said anything about this place, even when after I asked. Came here of my own will and curiosity, and was not disappointed. Wind surges, causing the easel to topple over and the painter to brace himself from the dust that could enter his eyes. With each invisible push, he could hear the voice whizzing past his ears. You know not of the curse that roams this land. Hell, with enough time spent here, you will become nothing. Painter is silent, even as the gaslight dies down. Even the air still waving around the rocks and ruins. Painter looks down at his toppled easel. He still holds the paper he wants to paint on. There was a long silence before the painter speaks, while staring at the expanse of light on the ground. If I were to become nothing, then nothing would change. But often I'm gone, I would at least like to finish one painting. I'd love to paint this beautiful landscape. Too much of a shame to keep this place forgotten. Beauty deserves to be remembered, at least even in my crude scribblings and with my shabby skills. Wind dies down and soon all is silent. Painter props his easel up again and proceeds to do as he was trying to do before. Palette in hand and the paper crumpling with wetness again, adds more pigment strokes. Begins to hum a simple tune as he was trying to do so before. But the air became chiller in an instant. Suddenly the sun is gone. Well, perhaps not in an instant or a sudden, but jarring enough that the painter was caught off guard by the small droplets spattered across the already wet and crumpling paper. Scrambling to protect his work and equipment, the painter steals everything into his wood suitcase, rushes down the hill still humming that stupid tune, as if everything is worth singing after what got ruined. At long last the poppy hills are silent once more. One were to look towards the bottom of the town's rainy skyline, they would see the hills covered in poppies as far as the eyes can perceive. Red flowers bow and dance with droplets, as if it were, that word for what these ruins had once. But nothing is to be respected here, for even the wind stays silent of what lay atop the hills. Till one day, while rain pours as quiet and powerful as it had for several days, there was a sigh, laced with grumbling, heading to the stones no one talks about. This must be our researcher. A slim man with ears of hair tied to a ponytail and eyes furrowing with experience stands in front of the pillars, equipped with a partially empty book in one hand and an umbrella in the other hand. He needs to be a researcher, like many others before him, going to research in the rain amongst the poppies. Without hesitation, while balancing his book on one hand and positioning the umbrella so he could use his now free hand, he begins to carefully rifle through the respectful poppies filled with rainwater. They would never protest his haphazard handling as he searches for something beyond the water and red. Yet, before he is able to pluck one poppy, he pauses when the wind begins to whisper harshly in his ear. For what reason do you come here? Wind blows cold rain onto his face like a spittle in a heated argument. But the researcher makes a motion at the icy water, and unlike the painter, he replies without whimsy, but bluntly as if but machine a child. I'm a simple researcher. I want to research this area. Don't bother me. Then pushes harder, causing the researcher to stumble and catch hold of his draining umbrella. Research? In the rain? How absurd. The researcher makes no notion towards the insulting wind and retorts. Everyone hates the rain, but I love it. The presence of rain means nobody and nothing will be around to bother me. Except for you, apparently. But it's not like some loud, spooky voice acting can stop me. Heavens rumble like a tremor. Researcher smiles pridefully, as if knowing his words are enough to incite such a reaction from nature. The wind billows and sprays rain about, but the researcher does not see it and holds his umbrella and dampening focus steady even as the winds continue their onslaughts. Who are you to speak and act so disrespectfully? Without fear or reverence, the researcher rebukes loudly. And who are you to even bother me when you won't even face me? Think yelling behind me while thunder and rain falls from the heavens is going to scare me off? Your prank means nothing to what my colleagues have said about me and my research. At least they tear up my hard work in front of my face. Can't even show me the face to your esteemed quips. So, what do your opinions matter? Nothing to retort. The wind begins to die down and the rain slowly decreases its downpour. It changes after this moment of spite. The researcher continues with a slight tone of humour in his voice. Cannot believe that's all it took to make the weather die down a bit. Call me stupid, but there's nobody around aside from you to call out my research and theoretical conclusions. I know who you are, severed voice, and I will not be dissuaded because I know you have no power but to be pretty proofs on paper. And even then, the things that could be written about you can only be written as a stain upon history's pages. Bloodstain or ink stain, I do not know, but a blot nonetheless. That giant blot means there's little to no actual word about you, or this place. But from what I can gather, I've forgotten God and nothing. Much less a spooky voice has no power over anything. I've had enough of this hubristic bickering. The gusts of air silence the winds and rain so the researcher can hear my disdain clearly. How haughty of you to assume I have no power. Researcher glowers at the pillars. Poppies are still bowing before his dry shadow. For a slight moment, when he unfolds his wet umbrella, or chuckling, shadow got slightly more damp like the rest of the earth on the hills. And how funny of you to speak like that, God and nothing. There's no one to praise you after all the centuries you had ruined. So the Powers does have a God with no followers have. I know of the rituals to you, and I know of the blood you decided. I know of the sacrifices to your greedy honor, and how it caused you decline. Nothing you can do to me, or to anything, and therefore takes out clippers from his pockets and states before a set of flowers in front of the pillars. Defiling this grave of ruins, or whatever this is of yours, will make nobody mad. These poppies are something nobody would ever miss. Now I'm done playing along with your fake competence. You think you can actually stop me, oh dearest God? I'd like to see you do it now. No, wait. Stop. Don't touch those flowers. Researcher directs his gaze to a voice tumbling out the muddy hill. Larger man gathers his breath once he is at the ruins, and the researcher glares for him to explain himself before running out the patience and asking directly. Oh, and why shouldn't I? Why should I listen to a stranger? Those painting those. If you touch them, then my painting will be ruined. I'll have to start over. Goodness, it's a good thing I decided to come up here as soon as the rain let up. All that time wasted. Researcher scoffs. Painting? How idiotic. You can just paint over what isn't present. Not with watercolors, I can't. Need them to stay as they are, till my painting is done. Research needs these poppies, and research is far more important than your petty little pictures. Then pick the other poppies. I don't know if you can tell, but there's plenty on nearest hill for you to pick. I can say the same for you, you idiot. Paint the other hills. I need the ones at the ruins specifically. I want to specifically paint the ones at the ruins. Stupid argument is getting irritating and noisy. Winds in the cloud begin to swirl in hopes of at least drowning out their incessant bickering. Well, okay, how about this? If you're patient enough, then your research can come after I've done my painting. And when, pray tell, will that be? The semblance of anger or annoyance the painter possessed is erased when he pauses and glances up at the ruins before answering. Not sure. I haven't painted something like this before. Researcher inspires, visibly annoyed before turning to the vast expanse of rocks. You don't say. Well, I'll get started as soon as I can, so you don't need to wait long. But that's if it stops raining. With perfect timing, the rain begins to fall again. First droplet hits a nearby rock, and the tiny sound causes both men to look into the sky. Ah, shoot, my paints! Painter panics and shuffles his wooden suitcase under his armpit. Researcher winces as he unfolds the umbrella above the two of them and asks tersely, "Why did you decide to come up here without an umbrella? It was raining earlier." "I was hoping the rain would let up after it stopped. Oh well, just means I'll come back here another day." Painter stares directly into Researcher's eyes, and for a moment the Researcher's cheek looked a little pink, though it could have been from the approaching cold that came with the rain. "Do then, don't pick those flowers. Until I'm done, please." Painter leaves the safety of the Researcher's umbrella and makes his way carefully down the hill. White shirt quickly becomes dotted with water. The Researcher calls out to him, "You idiot, you're planning to go back to town drenched?" Painter stops and turns to the Researcher, wondering if he has actually heard the low tone in his voice. "I mean, it's just water. It's not gonna kill me. Ruin my paint's load." As the Researcher lets out a frustrated growl and stumbles towards the Painter. He stops once the Painter is under the umbrella and glares at him, silently, but still holding back insults. He clearly wants to fling. Well, are we going? We? As if I'm letting someone walk back in the rain alone when it's getting dark. Oh, thank you, sir. Researcher did not respond and just grunts in an affirmation. With that, the two men made their way silently down the hilltop. Goodness, how damn noisy. Once upon a time, there was a god. A smiling god. A greedy god. A peaceful god, or so their followers claimed. The god promised peace from the evil others trying to take their land. But in existence for peace and safety, the god demanded blood and sacrifices. So many were sacrificed for centuries. God demanded so much that the villagers kept their enemies hostage and sacrificed them to the god. Then there was no enemies left, but the god demanded more. So they sacrificed themselves for their god, till there were no more prayers to power the god. No piety nor pity, the god died as well. And finally there was peace upon the hills. Some say each of those poppies are the souls the god took. Some say these poppies are what left of the god. Nobody knows really, but that left no knowledge and sands of a few spectators that string together legend through an oral tradition. That's why I'm here. I want to research this place and that god. Wind blows through the rippling fields, which now feel so much larger to the painter once silence falls between the two. Painter, stunned by the tale, stares at his wet paper that was waiting for pigments. Any colour is far from his thoughts. Who knew such a beautiful painting or beautiful place had such a colourful history? Finally he spoke in a whisper, breaking the nothingness between the two. Researcher turns with a sardonic smile. You mean a single-coloured history? Well, yes, actually. It's no wonder the place feels so, what's the word? Researcher sighs that his joke did not get across and replies in his usual sour manner. Ethereal? Painter laughs. Yes, that's it. Thank you. Suddenly, not wanting the painter to look at his face, the researcher makes his acknowledgement that sounded like a and turns to the pillars. Not wanting the silence to linger for longer, the painter continues with a shy chuckle while dabbing some paint onto the paper and focusing on the fields of poppy. But it was interesting to find out that there had been a god that was worshipped here. Never knew. So you never truly heard of the legend of this hill? Not really. I didn't grow up here, so I don't know the local legends. Put down a few strokes of the red on the wet paper, watching as he bloomed downwards. But there is something about this place that says there's a story behind it, you know? No wonder they're trying to research this place. It's fascinating. Cleaning his brush for a different colour, Painter smiles towards the researcher. But the researcher could indignantly explain that what he was smiling at, the painter continues. That being said, I'm really grateful that you let me paint before you start your studies. Thank you, truly. Researcher is speechless for a moment, sure of what to say, but before responding with an arrogant, almost forced bark of laughter. Well, figure I might as well study other aspects of this place while you do your thing. Nothing special. Still too stunned to accept genuine thanks from a friendly smile, researcher tries to deflect those bubbling feelings by staring at the sky the painter is focused on by trying to find the right words. Also love that they didn't draw the clouds like normal clouds, and it's just like little squiggles. So, you're new to this area. Fit so well that I thought, even though I never saw you before. I mean, the town is larger than one would expect after all. Pear chuckled, although this time the researcher could swear his laugh seems uncharacteristically subdued. Shit, I said the wrong thing again, didn't I? Researcher thinks, before Painter replied. Don't think I fit in as much as you think I do, but it kind of makes me glad someone thinks I do. Despite the answer delivered with a laugh and a smile, seems more sad than the researcher expected. It was almost familiar. Painter glances away from the sky and stares at what progress he made. Grimacing from what is on the page, he starts cleaning his brush in the cup of water he brought. But yes, I moved in about a year ago, I believe. Wanted to find some places that would inspire me, and this town seemed to fit what I wanted. You came to the pillars on Poppy Hill without knowing the legend? How fascinating. Wind blows gently, drying the colours of the paper quicker than expected. The researcher fixes his gaze towards the pillars, taking a deep breath and the warm floral scent of the wind carries. And you? You lived here all your life? For a moment, the researcher hesitates. Usually he would deflect to another topic regarding himself, but after considering how much the two have talked at this point, hesitation melts away. Well, yes and no. I did travel around when I was younger, but I kept coming back here. Needed a place to store all the books I've collected after all, so soon enough I just stayed here and got interested in local legends. I see. So you've been trying to piece together the history of this place. Yes, actually. I knew of the legend as a child. Most everyone who's been born here and raised here do. But not much is actually known aside from what I told you. Not much history known about these hills other than our grandparents telling the stories their grandparents told them. Neither Painter nor the researcher realizes how relaxed one is with the other, so when the painter laughs his usual laugh, the researcher replies in his usual manner, hesitation and nervousness is and the other melts away. Wow, how interesting. So, are the kids in this on the legend stuff too? I'd say somewhat. Legend has been passed down as versions of cautionary tales. As far as I know, the newer generations tend to be willingly ignorant about the past. So, then there wouldn't be kids trying to say, for example, come up the hills and pretend to be a god you said lived here? Researcher becomes silent with a complex expression falling over his face. Had the painter also heard the voice calling to him? Did the painter actually witness him yelling at something, or nothing at all? Thinking back to the turbulent... didn't mean to skip before... Thinking back to the turbulent feelings that led him here was not pleasant, and the researcher was embarrassed to admit that he may have let a prank push him far enough that the painter witnessed something embarrassing. The researcher did not know the answer to the painter's question, nor did he want to know, so he answers with excessively more emphasis than needed. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Who goddamn knows? Either way, it's so stupid they would. Painter started by the unneeded outburst, and in hopes of keeping the air between them light, laughed nervously while turning back to the now dry paper. Oh, okay then. Well, I guess those kids pranked me good the other day. Silence was common between the two, and even seemed to be common in their respective lives. Even before their arrival, silence was prevalent atop the poppy hills, and that constant defined normalcy for a time. At first, silence was the best way for the two to communicate, lest they face each other's caustic retorts. But nobody can communicate with nothing, so conversations occasionally occurred between the two, with each word causing the fires to become calmer. Sometimes the researcher would meet the pillars first and take some notes with his book and purple pen. Sometimes the painter would follow after and set up his easel. I really need to wake up earlier so I can get here before you do. For what reason? I already agreed to let you paint your silly painting first. Well, you both know you won't get up early like I do. Yes, but I don't want to make you wait long, and I can wake up early if I wanted. But you haven't. Well, maybe tomorrow I will. Researcher laughs. I'd like to see that. Painter laughs too. Wynn picks up as they laughed, at first softly, then all at once. Neither of them said anything to each other, then neither would hear the other, but it did not seem like they needed to be heard by the other. Through small talks, their desires are opposite from the other, learned how to be comfortable with each other's nothing. Now there was something communicating in the nothing between them. When the noise between them became their new normal, and becomes the new normal for the hilltop, neither of their time grows longer. The more they do this, only shorter. And I was getting so tired of hearing them making such stupid noise. So instead of their noisy banter and annoying laughter, my voice pierces through the winds. For what reason do you two come here? To disturb my slumber? Oh, okay, that's kinda creepy looking. Also, really cool. Silence was always the standard for the days atop the hill, as humans had been cheerfully squabbling over this piece of nothing for so damn long. Once I appeared before them, silence reigns once again. At last, you two are finally silent. I should have made my appearance earlier, instead of making you two believe I've been mischievous children in a trench coat. After moments of disbelief, they spoke, the words colliding into each other. No, wait, have we met before? You sound familiar. I am whatever either of you make of me. Something I haven't known for quite a long time. After all, God needs reverence and worshippers. I've neither for quite a long time. Two stare at me, stunned and speechless, until the researcher furrows his brows towards me. God? You're the god of legend? That's impossible. Make of me what you will, but God I am no longer. No, I mean, there's got to be some fancy trick to you. You're just some kids in an elaborate costume, aren't you? I don't know, they look pretty real to me. Even without power, seeing mortals attempting to perceive and comprehend me always elicits a human scoff from me. Go ahead, throw a rock at me, spit at me. No matter what you do, you can never truly touch me. What? No, we're not gonna... Of course he tries to throw his frickin' journal at him. As soon as the words leave his mouth, a book flies through me and lies right behind me. Hey now, that wasn't very nice. You... Researcher sputters, ignoring the chastising from the painter. How brave of you, mortal. But do not worry about the consequences. I cannot touch you. I could do only nothing. What? Nothing? I can't even control the weather? Like the winds and the sun and the rain? Not exactly. I can will the winds in this area, but only gently. The sun and rain seem to be beyond my reach as well. But this area seems to be attached to my will, so occasionally the conditions change somewhat within my control, but not quite. And no, I can't make you go insane or murder you, or whichever macabre fantasy humans seem to be attracted to. I only have so much power as a poppy. Researcher scrambles towards where he threw his book, but the painter looks at me confused. What? I don't understand what you just said. It's not like it's not unlike mortals keeping in turbulent emotions. You can feel when someone is angry and say nothing, yes? Can control weather like emotions? After writing notes down while walking to where the painter stands, the researcher turns to me. So what are you then? If you're not God? Certainly not human. What you see is all that I'm worth. Thousands of years of blood and blessings. Now a witness between two lovers. The reactions. Oh, that's cute. Oh, they're so adorable. And I like how they're overlapping the dialogue here. It's kind of cool. A cool effect. The researcher continues to sputter something being inconceivable, but the painter quickly changes subjects with rosy cheeks and clearing his throat. So, what made you come out now of all times? Sure, we're nothing to you, but why now? Why us? You two are noisy, very noisy, like passionate fires, and that makes it hard to sleep. So what, you gonna curse us? Are you going to be your sacrifices now? Are we wake the sacrificial god? Richard glares intensely at me. I know the painter does not think of me as a threat. The previous mention of my so-called legend seemed to make even a jovial man like him uneasy. Only if you want to sacrifice something to me. Otherwise, I'm as powerful as a single flower in this field. Wait, so that means I can come back and finish my painting, and he can finish his research? Really? Really? What are the things you're worried about? I have no power to stop you two from your heart's desires. All I can do is nothing. Beaming smile, the painter laughs with excitement. Thank you so much. It's not worth being noisy about. The faster you two finish your work, the faster I can be left alone. Just make sure the skies are clear for me. Rain makes it impossible for me to do my painting. Researcher clears his throat to get the painter's attention. Hey, sorry to rain on your parade, but we need to leave. It's getting late. You need to put away your easel. Ah, you're right. Take some time to stow away the painter's equipment in his wooden suitcase. Even with the researchers' help, the sun had fallen a bit to go. Well, it was a pleasure to meet you. We'll be back to keep you company. Before I could retort about how I actually want silence, not their presence, the researcher hastily grasps the painter's arm and yanks him towards the path down the hill. Let's go, stupid. Took so much time to get your damn stuff put away, and it'll be dark when we get into town. Despite the venomous tone in the researcher's voice, the painter replies with an apology, and a laugh as if he knows the researcher is not actually angry with him. And with a respected grumble and laugh, the two made their way hastily down the darkening hill. So stupid. Once upon this hilltop there rested an old temple to a god. Time and time again, the hilltop glistened with the god's desires, and year after year, the hilltop cries with only the winds to carry their message across the hills. For what reason do you come here? Well, there is no sanctuary, no happiness, and no peace within your home filled with uncertainty. Sanctuary, happiness, and the peace granted by God need an offering, a sacrifice. Those whispers echoed through the centuries that passed like seconds. They painted the hills with colours they had never seen. Prayers were sacrificed with each passing decade, and along with them an immortal touch. Now, amidst the silence, they only time carved at what was left of the temple. Once beheld with centuries of passion and devotion, the temple had now whittled to two lone pillars amongst ruins and pebbles, and nothing had lived here but the poppies that mysteriously grew so red and brilliant. It carefully overtook everything on the hilltop, like a blanket for the day's rest. No one dares to travel to the pillars on Poppy Hills, since those times long past. And yet, after centuries residing at the hilltops with nobody to pray to, a forgotten god, two simpletons managed to make the melancholic scenery lively again. Perhaps it is because of the blathering that I became so annoyed at the rain and the sun that comes with them. Never feel like this when I sleep. I wish I could sleep like that once again. Yet, those rainy and sunny days keep coming, like a wish or a plea that continues to be answered. Like a prayer that desperately wants to be answered. Within those answers, within that desperation, noise and banter continue to dot the days, the way the poppies cover the hilltop. Trite, trivial things made different only by the subject matter, like the ticks of a second and the rustle of a flower in the wind, and making paint. Only you two could finish such boring things to be interested in. Make myself known and appear before them, before hearing more of their dull drivel. Not boring, really. You're defending him about making paint? No, it's not that. It's just surprising to see him speak so intelligently about something. Rarely ever see that. See, even the mortal being thinks so. I don't think they're agreeing. That being said, would you like to come over to my house so I can show you how to make paint? I cannot move from this hilltop, and I cannot sleep after they frequently force me to awaken. Options are either to add to the noise in hopes of cancelling theirs, or suffer through this sentience I no longer want. What is awake? What is consciousness? Can I go to even be conscious? Perhaps so, considering I possess memories of the hills, different lights and several darks, but I much prefer to be asleep to recall their sordid past. Pain? Is this pain? Punishment? Perhaps so, considering the hills are no colours anyone would love, not even by me, the god who smeared these colours. Perhaps I knew what these words originally meant, considering I tried to grant so many wishes in the past, been so long now I've forgotten many things. Forgetting felt so nice. I fell asleep because everyone around me had disappeared. Then I truly felt at peace. Never needed to ponder such things like expectations and happiness. And I never needed to pretend that I wanted to be alive or conscious. I have been alive, conscious, for many millennia and have seen the different starry nights twirl and wobble so many times that they congeal into the same thoughts that echo into the sky. What was a smile? What was laughter? How do you create such things? I knew how to create and exchange destruction and despair, and I can only do it onto others. What does desire feel like? What drives you to keep existing? Darkening Sky asked. I don't know, I answered. I wish I was asleep. Don't you want to know? It asked. Then I fell asleep. The sky leaves my sight and becomes empty in my vision. Thank goodness. I hope the sky stays empty forever. Perhaps one day I could become just like it, non-existent and truly empty. But over the centuries, the more I look at the horizon, the more I realize I can never be as empty as I desired. If I were to be one with the sky, then I'd have to be part of either the rain or the sun. And perhaps it is because I have spent too much time with the two models, but the consciousness I never dwelled upon began to rise from the horizon, and time, as it always did, for several hundred years waited for a desire. And that desire, for some reason, figures amongst the poppies, and for some reason, reach out to a figure. Oh, I get to choose, I guess, which figure I want to. I guess it's time. I want to go with the fancy mustache guy. Maybe. What do we do? Oh. Okay, there we go. But desire from a god? Just who would grant it then? Towards the skyline where the hills of poppy lie, clouds roll and obscure the sky. Droplets fell soon enough, and I feel a chill and calm I rarely feel. It almost feels relaxing enough that I could slumber the days away, almost. To my dismay and my surprise, it is only the researcher that comes up the hill. Does not wear his recognizable scowl, but instead wears a face that had been softened. Not to make me believe that this was a similar stranger. But under his umbrella, he opens his bag and pulls out the book he typically holds. Opens it to a specific blank page. Oh, this is indeed the researcher himself. Taking out the scissors I had seen him hold once before, he kneels down before some fruits of poppy and pauses, just deliberating whether he wanted to further his research or not. My, this is different, researcher. So you decide to not honor his wishes. I appear before him and curiosity drives me more than the desire to sleep. He does not turn to face me, still staring at the group of poppies. Store of God, neither you nor him can tell me what to do. And what of the painter? Where is he? Since there was some symbol of a laugh, or puff of diverse one at least. Through emotions of smoother experience, he places the scissors back into his bag and stares down the subtle grooves where the pen most met previous pages. Something idiotic happened. I assume he is home right now. The researcher stands up, not minding the mud on his knees and his white woman's socks. He does not turn around to face me, still staring at the empty pages, pretending he is not fully listening to me. He usually comes with you. I've never seen you two the two of you apart. Ha! Is this what you think then? Am I wrong though? Silence fills the rainy air as he stares down at the empty book. Purple pen in one hand, nowhere near a page. Say nothing, and for a while he stays silent until finally muttering in a joking manner. You think that after all the research I've done in all my years, I would be satisfied with the answers I've found. All the times I've spent pouring my time and effort into the information that could benefit historians, all I get is a scoff. I've gotten so tired of their cheers that I just stopped talking to them and poured myself into research. It did me a lot better than listening to those fools. Now, I never need to consider the needs of others. Not for a long time. Not even now. But I'm not going to start caring either, because all this resulted in disappointment after disappointment. I say nothing, and neither does he. Quietly turns to previous pages that had already been filled with lines of writing, however long ago that may have been to him. Told myself to screw them and their ignorance and pursue the things that give my life meaning. What can I do when the things that give me my life meaning means nothing in the long run? What my research amounted to was a realization that existence isn't fair, that most ideas and concepts are best left inside your head. At least then I can convert my ideas and hard work without anyone's opinions marrying that I put my entire heart into it. He then said nothing, neither did I. For a while he did nothing, as did I. And suddenly, through the constant drizzle of the falling rain, the researcher then burst out laughing. What's so funny? God, what? What the hell am I even doing? Why the hell am I spilling my stupid heart to you? You can't relate to me, you're God. And you claim there's nothing you can do anyway, so what the hell am I even doing here? I was wondering the same. Are you expecting me to do something about your problem? He expels another bark of a haughty laugh before turning around to sneer at me. Yes, absolutely. Ask the sacrificial, bloodthirsty God to help me with my stupid problems. What a fantastic solution. And you only need what? An arm, a leg, some blood, a sandwich? You need all those, so I'm not willing to trade right now. Thank you very much. What can you even do anyway? From all my research I've conducted about you in this place, it doesn't seem like anything good happens when anyone collaborates with you. Wonder about what else he had researched about me, what these ruins used to be. I am fully aware of the atrocities I caused, overtly or not. Hearing about myself and my previous actions through another point of view tends to put me to sleep. However, I am curious about what he knows of me, but before I can reply, he grimaces and replies with disgust. Actually, no, never mind, don't tell me. I don't want to entertain the thought. And why not? You can be told offense from the thing that caused them in the first place. Thought researchers value that information. But then you curse me in exchange for the information. That's usually how it works with beings like you, isn't it? Before I can reply, he chuckles and looks up to the stormy sky, as if he was trying to reaffirm something. Whom or what, I truly did not know. But he speaks with a renewed determination. I know damn well that I wish even one without a catch, or one offered by an evil god or whatever, can't solve my problems. It's too easy. Perhaps if I were desperate, but I'm not. I'll keep trying to succeed with my goals, even if I had to do it myself. With these words and the landscape growing darker under the continuous downpour, he storms steadily down the hill, alone. While I stare at the purple umbrella disappearing into the horizon, I wonder what prompted him to come up the hill if all he was going to do is complain and do nothing. For the next few days, it was the researcher alone who came up the rainy hill. I've yet to see the painter, but his absence is most likely from the non-stop downpour that would ruin his painting. Sometimes, out of curiosity, I try to inquire what the researcher is doing. All I even see him do is stare at the pillars, the copies, and the white pages in his book. But he always ignores me, each time claiming he doesn't want my help. He would get his own happiness by his own hands and make things right. But each time he came up the hill on those different days, the anger and determination in his eyes washed out a little at a time by the time he leaves. But he would repeat how he did not want my help, and that everything will get better. It has to get better. Till one day he came up the rainy hill without his purple umbrella. Does he want me to respond? To ask why the determination has faded from his eyes? No clue or care of his problems, why he cares about them, so there was nothing I truly could say. He and I are silent, and I want to see if he will speak first, but when seeing him through the pillars and poppies, well, they turned purple, I realized. First I realized this some time ago, but the clarity to a desire I thought I left behind is so apparent. Too apparent, that to let this slip by me would be more maddening than those years I spent alone. I try to keep my voice steady as I break the silence between us. You want to know something, researcher. I know you don't want my input, and you much prefer to find things out yourself, but I figured this bit of information could help you out a little. You know you could take the poppies whenever you decide, right? Never stopped you from taking them, because it's not like I could stop you anyway. Even gods have limits on what they can do. The powers are only as powerful as the faith humans have, and are deemed only important as the sacrifices humans need to make. So go ahead, take the poppies. Can't stop you even if I wanted to. Taking them causes no consequences to me or you. Looks down to a group of poppies staring at them intently. And all he did was stare at them. The researcher makes no motion to step them like he had attempted before. It causes me to scoff at how predictable he is. I see that you covet the painter's desires and my own truth. At the mention of him, the researcher glares back at me with a fury. Never seen him possess in the times he has come up the hill. Don't give a shit about him and what he desires. Why should I, when he returned my own? Upon realizing what he was about to say, his mouth kind of shut in distress and turns towards the group of poppies. No, I don't care about him. It's just... His voice wobbled slightly, with the sharpness and composure he had always possessed struggling to stay at the forefront of his crumbling demeanor. I don't know what to do anymore. Done all I can with my research, my colleagues, with him, with everything. Poppies don't matter at this point. Nothing does. Nothing will, no matter how hard I try. Paul was looking down at the book in his hand, which had been opened to the same blank pages he had not written in. Rain had already ruined the pages he previously wrote in, so the purple ink washes continued to spread and obscure the words he wanted to say. At least, with you being a god and all, you're able to bear witness to things humanity has forgotten to write down. Better than a human whose words and thoughts mean nothing to another human. Smoke certainly, as he says this in a whisper before falling silent. Ever desire threatens to make me fault, so I tried to keep my voice the same steady tone as it always has been. I can't solve your problems or grant wishes, but I can at least give you something that could help you. That smile disappears from his face, placed with a slight spark of hope before it turns into skepticism. What, so you suddenly become a kind-hearted god? And it's not a kind exchange. It's one of equivalence, where we both gain what we want. I can make your research matter and poignant. I'll help you be able to witness things you'll never be able to witness as a mere human. Peers and everyone that knows you won't matter. Be better than them. Now forget your mistakes they've done to you. hesitates, but a slight bit of light flickers in his eyes before he furrows his brow to think over my offer. Is this what it feels like to be excited? To have something to look forward to? It's been so long since I felt this way. That causes me to become quiet. So I reach out silently to him, only the rain and the wind texturing and nothing between us. Then he reaches back, saying nothing. Like life itself, like nature or the whims of fortune, and like mortals, not even gods make sense. How apt in the world where what makes sense and the unknown constantly collide with each other. There are many things to learn in the constant skirmishes you tend to be caught in, but without resilience or determination to weather those blows, it will whittle you away until you become nothing. Nobody wants to be nothing, at least. I know that now that I am able to let these thoughts swirl freely like the clouds on a sunny day, but I covet the rainy days too much to keep these thoughts in my mind. I covet time now more than ever to learn and relearn things I never would have had the chance to. How funny then for me to spend many of my days indoors from the outside rain. Then by my side, even the idealized scene in the painting of a perfect day feels inferior. But today is the day, after many days of deliberating, since I could finally feel. Keep pushing it to later, though that was his fault, not mine. My fault for not faulting him. So I'll leave the coziness on the bed, cast rooms reflecting painted images of myself, all the writings and research I've been able to do. Equipped only with my favorite cloth and parasol, made my way to the place I was created. And here I am, once again, to the place that had created, whittled me, and created once again. And it was silent, so silent. So I decided to speak since I know I'm not alone right now. You know what? Since becoming human, I've learned many things. Did you know that this common saying, it's always darkest before the dawn? I tend not to see the sunrise when I was tied to here. I'd be asleep for many of those dawns, never knowing how true that saying is. Though I guess it'd be impossible to see dawn through the rain like this. The poppies only bob in response, as if nodding. But it was only the flowers that look as if they were responding to me, so I'm sure he does not want to face me right now. Are you angry at me? Oh, you're angry at me, aren't you? I know you are. You always seem to be. But at the very least, I want to thank you for allowing me to research and learn new things. Swear I'll not let your hard work or your thoughts be taken for granted, so long as I can vet them. And because I'm grateful for what you have granted me, I've come to give you words so you won't suffer as much as I did. Perhaps the rain got colder, and the more I talk since I am still adjusting to this form. Despite the cold, however, I found the parasol and feel the burnt of the ice and cold rain as I step forward, clutching my bag. Don't think too much. That's what caused your tragedy, after all. Find that sleeping helps you think of nothing and passes the time. Also helps it makes the pain easier. As you can get out of this if you desire, but don't forget the cost of happiness. Not me, after all. By the way, he's happy now, if that's any consolation to you. It's also the one that explained the saying to me. I'm looking forward to all the other things he can teach me. Smell placing a book and purple pen beside the lone pillar. Then I made my way down the cold hill, never to come back again. Man, this is kind of fucked up that you tricked out the researcher. But yeah, all the poppies are purple, which is pretty, but yeah, I also noticed how the guy's parasol and like Even the ribbon on his hair changed to red instead of purple now. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have chosen him. But yeah, now he is... Yeah. Oh, and that's it. Pillars on Poppy Hill. Now, I'm assuming there's probably different endings, so if you picked up the painter, and then maybe if you did pick either of them. But yeah, this was a very interesting visual novel. Really liked it. Definitely really liked the art style, the background and stuff. They were really pretty. And especially the drawing of the god as well. But yeah, this was really nice. Really liked it. If you guys want to play this for yourself, yeah, now tile screen is now purple. But yeah, if you guys want to play this for yourself, the link will be down in the description below, and yeah, we'll be moving on to the next game.